A lot of teams still on that south side. Early doors, so the zone won't tick. And these maneuvers have to be made fast. The thing about Vikendi Blank is that there's quite a lot of buildings, right? There's quite a lot of closely packed compounds, so a lot of teams can exist fairly centrally in these circles. But what that also means is that rotations in these circles become all the more dangerous because you're always going to have those teams looking out your way. With less teams, maybe a little bit easier, but Vikendi, still very treacherous. A land shift on the circle means that we won't have any further Vikendi circles. I might have spoken too soon, though. If there's a hard north shift, okay, sure, but...
I think this would be classed as a Vikendi circle, honestly. Those coastal circles, kind of atypical to what you normally see on Vikendi, considering, you know, there is one team that has a great position, but it does feel like when you start to get these central spots where there's so many compounds still involved, so that's going to be very difficult to determine where the best spot to be is. Stalwart passing by the Vampires at the moment. No shots taken as of yet. And Carrillo, as well as Alpha 7, move down to a compound further towards the center. Vampire Esports still hedging their bets over towards that western side.
This play for late game has been really working out for the Vampires so far. We've seen them able to just fend off engagements, stay out of the mix, and then come in swinging late. Over these last 2 games today, it has proven to be highly, highly effective. And similarly, in last week's games. A little replay, onto crash from Rad. 1, 2, 3, and there's the 4th going down over towards Desha. Raze did take a tumble, but that's resible for S2G.
Yeah, S2G were having none of that crash from Rad, which I think has become one of their weak points in this tournament, which is just some crazy crashes. Every single player getting taken down in the first couple of moments, or at least a couple of knocks. It just makes the recovery so difficult. Enigma Galaxy down 1, and R8 still at it. Down towards the south side of Volnova. That's still a ways to go to get back into the circle here on Vikendi. Playing a completely different game at TDM at the moment.
The blue zone, zone 2, is manageable. Zone 3, it'll start to get inconvenient. Zone 4, you got to get out of there.
That is unbearable at that point in time, yeah. Hamodi, honestly, has had a really, really bloody good run here in the after-party showdown. A lot of eliminations, very skilled player. Came into the scene and made a good splash, but the sound of that will send him packing.
That's a real big splash right there. DBS. It's in the meta. It's going to be seen so much more. You can imagine, especially in this urban compound-based play here in Vikendi.
Enigma Galaxy decides to leave Damwon Kia as well as R8 to it. And that little 1 versus 1 match down here. Ralph already left. Heads up towards Podvosto, just underneath Mount Krejnik at the moment. The rest of the teams, Alpha 7, Dead Eyes guys, S2G, Stalwart, Vampires, BTR, they're all still within the circle, though. BTR just about making their way in from Trevno, so they're right on the edge side. Might be a little bit difficult to move through Cosmodrome, especially with A7 watching out for a lot of these things. And the depth of Cosmodrome as well provides a big problem, because you're stuck in there if you do have to end up crossing.
Vampires said they wanted a place to coal mine, and they take the western shore in coal mine.
That's pretty good.
That was pretty good. I'm happy with that. You can congratulate me later on the fantastic pun work going on. But the next circle just about to shift in. It's a coal mine shift towards the Vampires.
I do not know what's happening with Vampire Esports, but someone on that team, they have the DeLorean, dude. I'm telling you. They do have the DeLorean. Someone is heading over 5 minutes in the future, figuring out what's going on, and then coming straight back into it. But their placements, even in this circle here, there's still a massive opportunity for them to actually get back into the circle, even if it shifts over towards Yeez on fire!
Oh no! R8 cut down as they try and leave Onba's sightlines. Fortunately for Onba, doesn't have any meds, and this is Zone 3, where we said it's going to get inconvenient. I don't think this guy gets out of this. It would be a miracle. With no stims, no meds, this guy's ticking. He's not going to make it to the crates. He's going to get knocked. Resible until Zone 4 hits.
Now all these teams trying to make their way over. You can see Vampire Esports sat comfortably within the tree line at the moment, peeking out maybe now and again, but this area, it really does make it difficult for a lot of these engagements long distance to happen, just because of all these trees are creating the fair obstacle in the pathways of sightlines. Enigma Galaxy, though, this works in their favor, able to covertly make their way in to the circle itself. Lord just looking out. They still have Freak as well off in the back.
Enigma Galaxy with 3, making their way in on the southeast side. There's S2G taking a little bit of an engagement there against the Vampire Esports team. First time they've seen action properly so far this game. Can they bear the brunt of it? At the moment, I don't think S2G are looking to crash.
No, this is the difficulty now with the compound. Holes in the helmets and make it just that little bit easier when it comes to those late game engagements here on Vikendi, because it's very unlikely that you do get a supply drop with even more loot towards your position. To get those level 3s on board, you're kind of good with what you've got, and you have to stick around until someone crashes into you. And you have to win that engagement and then pick up their supplies after.
Alpha 7's still alive for now. I don't want to jinx them too much. But they have got 4 players still in this. They crossed from Cosmodrome. They're across that river now. They're by the roadside on the northeastern edge. The next zone just about to come in. Looks like Omba did manage to get back up for down 1 Kia. They are playing with 2. You could see them just passing Villa now.
Yeah, trying to zoom in towards the circle. It is very, very close to being the next. Zero does head off to Vampire Esports, very central at the moment. And this supports the big hitters right now, S2G, Alpha 7, and Vampire Esports. Stalwart a little bit out of the way up towards that northern side. Will have to make their way down from Zabava and leave that heavy compound area, the city. I'm sure a lot of teams will be looking their way.
Bigatron with shots over towards Enigma Galaxy. Lord, the nade man, the bombardier of the squad. The push cut short just a little bit. Deadeye's guys, potential for a third party here. Freak might want to regroup. Genfos has the angle though, has the oversight, and there's more spray coming through from Luxy with the G36. Freak not quite able to get an answer just yet.
Still impressive that Enigma Galaxy were able to get up here. Saying hello to the Alpha 7 fans towards the top of the audience. Giving us a good wave there. Happy to see it. Supporting them through these tremulous times, to be honest with you. 147 points apiece, though, for Alpha 7. Omba not able to make it in with Ralph with the oversight, and that's down 1 Kia out.
Eliminated. 2 players were left, but they managed to pick that one up. Lord still in the sightlines of Genfos with that M16. Pops the 4X and lands what he's looking for. 2 players now for Enigma Galaxy as they need yet another res. They've had a tough time of it. On the southeastern side, they'll need to get a little bit closer to this circle.
Coal mine. We Deadeye's guys coming up from that area. Just trying to pull out the pickaxe. Just dig away at any kind of movements they can make up towards the northern side. See if they can strike gold, but it's looking a little bit unlikely as they will have to pass over some treacherous terrain soon.
Over the lip, all 3 in a vehicle. Dangerous at the best of times, but when there's so many compounds occupied close by, Enigma Galaxy trying to get inside the building, get to cover. Freak takes a peppering. Might feel a little bit salty about that as Lord takes a tumble too.
Good timing to get out of that vehicle as well. I think they knew exactly what was coming their way. They couldn't have gone any further than that, and they're right down towards that southeast edge. Next circle coming very shortly our way. East side supports Alpha 7. West supports Vampire Esports, who currently have both Stalwart and Falcons on their back, but it's Stalwart, in fact, who gets the circle here. S2G still in, and now Vampire Esports might need to make a quick getaway here, but it will be between them and 2 4-man teams, and Falcons can always backstab from behind.
2 players for Falcons, Damar and Powerful, but they look to skirt around, potentially running straight into Stalwart if they make this move too early. Instead, they drop out of the vehicle. Vampire will know that there's players out this area now. With those vehicle noises coming through, they will have scouted this. You can see they are on the swivel for this direction. they're closer to the circle, and Falcons will need to move first.
Vampire Esports close to the ridge edge, though. Like you said, definitely will have heard Falcons, so can try and get rid of them. Luckily for the Falcons, though, luckily for Vampire Esports, sorry, with the Falcons so much out in the open, they might even get taken down by an enemy team. But with Vampire Esports being up the hill and Falcons even further, this is a case where they do have oversights on the retreat from Vampire Esports into the circle itself.
Damar looking for that opening. The circle pushing them now. Damar will have to leave. The nade's not really in range to get too much done. Vehicle is available. Looks like they might push for that. Alpha 7 taking the fight on the north side with Bigatron as well. This is across the way on the northeastern side of conflict. As things are going to start to pop off. Things are going to get a little bit spicy in these next couple of minutes.
Nade's been sent in by Falcons at the moment. Immediately, Vampire Esports, they reposition over to spot where they may not know that they're here. Not where at least that first grenade did take a bit of damage. And Vampire Esports looking to just move now. Stalwart, though, in front of them, that will be the big obstacle.
If they can keep themselves covered from Alpha 7's angle, the Deadeyes guys can be handled at their back. Spray over towards Chari, who's staying alive behind a rock. Turulov has a brilliant lineup here if he can land this spray. Look at that position. Step up, get that spray. That's what you're looking for. But teams are starting to fall like flies. Enigma Galaxy going down to just one. Towards still alive. Edison takes a little bit of the nade. And there's the DBS around the side. Swatch to the G36.
Towards Vampire Esports position. They still have 4 alive, though. That is the main thing. Falcons, they move up top side, so now they dead. Alpha 7 looking to deal with them, but a nade flies backwards into their face. And it's Revo, though, with a good one.
Another one coming down from the top rope from Bigatron, though. Genfos needs to get res. They don't have a lot of time to do so. A beautiful nade from Revo will find 2 players from Bigatron. In comes the push. Alpha 7 looking to sweep here, challenge the Vampires, and Stalwart on the far side. Bigatron suffering. They cannot stand the might of Alpha 7. Brazil reigning on the north side.
Revo just went for the full squad wide with Carrillo getting the last elimination there. Revo, you cannot say he has not been a fantastic member. Top just underneath, though. This is dangerous for Vampire Esports.
How do they make that cross? Stone stays alive, stops as well. Getting sprayed down on the corner, stops falling. Schweppes getting sprayed down as well. Top wants this angle, wants this fight. Stops crawling in. There's Stone getting taken down on the off. 2 players for the Vampire Esports. Will this reign of terror be brought short by Stalwart on the south side? Ravenclaw still there, but Schweppes is burning. Stakes flying back and forth all the way and finding time and time again the hearts of the Vampires. Stone getting flushed. S2G want a part of this pie, but I don't think this is something that you want to be chowing down on. Stops, naded out on the backline as Top leads the charge. Coming in for Stalwart with the micro Uzi, and somehow the reses are coming through. Vampire Esports revive themselves. 2 players on the inside. Scry, action, Top, circling around now. 3 alive for Stalwart.
The fire comes in, the brunt of the sun trying to take down the Vampires, and S2G coming at a crucial moment. Carrillo finds way into this one, and then Ravenclaw will go down. The Molotovs are too strong. And now A7 looking to pick up the pieces.
At this crucial juncture, with it so close at the top, Alpha 7 stay alive. 4 players, they have the outside angle. Damar down the bottom might be able to pick off 1 or 2, but what can Stalwart do from inside this compound?
Stalwart looking to regain a little bit of composure here, but Revo has just not stopped this entire after-party showdown. He's looking to show the entire world what he's made of here on an international stage.
They know where Damar is, seemingly. You can see Revo scoping in on location. Stalwart back to 4. Pitched battle between 2 Titans.
Damar from Falcons surprisingly still in this game. 1 goes down, unfortunately, and that will be powerful out. And Falcons will leave just as quick as I mentioned them. Just 1 player still remaining now.
Revo on the roof. Pika spotted. Repositions. Stays alive. Scry not taking damage there as well. Discipline.
Revo is just so quick with it. And the circle moves away from them. So both teams in an engagement that does not really favor anyone. Nades are being held by the entirety of Alpha 7. Damar gets taken down from afar. Alpha 7 leaves no rock unturned.
We said this is a team that knew what they were doing. Alpha 7, a pretty poor start to the day. But they are turning up the heat here on Vikendi. Stalwart, though, not going to be easy to take down by any stretch of the imagination. Nades, utility, pouring on in towards the backline. Pika.
Stalwart just need to hold strong at the moment, but the nades are just coming thick and fast from Alpha 7. Revo still holds on to this high ground position, John.
Brazil looking to try and push through here. Stay strong at the top. They didn't like being second fiddle. And this time around, they will have their retribution. Vampire having already fallen means that top spot will go the way of Alpha 7 no matter the outcome of this fight. But that chicken dinner is worth $10,000 with a nade over towards action. It brings them 3v3.
Evening things out, but Revo will have to leave this high ground, and Pika steps just shy of the Molotov. Will move back out again. That nade goes off the side, does a little bit of damage, but it's not quite enough. The smokes are absolutely everywhere. This kind of warfare is just blind shooting.
Ooh, Revo caught on the drop there. A beautiful spray from top around the side. Not going to get the flush. Not just yet. Mythic is there for the res if it's there. A Grillo sprays through the window, but he can't make it work. Top needs to find more, but finally he's taken down. It's just Mythic. 1 versus 2 for Alpha 7 to take home the chicken dinner in this Vikendi match. But the spray from the back is just too much. It is Stalwart.
Unable to take home that 10K, but the points they put up there will see them very steady looking at that 60K in first place. They are now fairly ahead of Vampire Esports. Again, even off the back of 4 wins in a row, Alpha 7 still make up the difference. And it's getting very, very difficult. 3 more matches to go now, John, for Vampire Esports to try and get a lead, but I don't know where they're going to find it.
It's going to be so close. Those 2 games with Alpha 7 not performing in the first 2 games of the day leave such a great question to be answered in these last games as we find these final moments. Vampire, again, in the conversation to be tournament champs.
Yeah, it is ridiculous at the moment. Winner chicken dinner coming through, 1800 damage here on Vikendi. I mean, they were really putting in the work, John.
They absolutely were. What a performance from Stalwart Esports. They absolutely took that fight in their stride, top on the inside of that building. What a way to close it out for them. Finding that last frag as well. Beautiful stuff. What coordination. But Alpha 7, they take that top spot back under their control.
عايز تترجم راب؟ تعالى لي. ملوك الصين دي انا ملخصه في سطور، بس مين يقرا؟ فاهم؟ كلام الشارع ده انا هرشه كل المجال حبايبي. بروز
وانا كاكازوكو مصدع ايه الكي نظرة لو على الحلاوة عندي كاستر والاسم
عفرت يا عفرت، هتفضل معفرتها ولا ايه يا برو؟
انت مين يا هو ازاي ده دخل هنا يا جدعان؟
نكسر الدنيا الاول وبعدين نتكلم، نعيد من الاول.
لا 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 مش مسجل.
اخواتي
عشان فاهمين السين، سبوتيفاي عمل لك بلاي ليست الاقوى راب مصري، اسمع ملوك السين ببلاش.
Okay, welcome back everyone to PMWI, the After Party Showdown. As unfortunately, the Vampire Esports streak has been stopped. They've been put back in their coffins to rest, at least for one match. I'm just Kaplan, your host here. We got to break things down, gentlemen, as we have seen Stalwart Esports finally pick themselves up a win.
Yeah, it was good to see finally able to get himself a good finish there. Playing with the DBS, it was actually Scry that did a lot in that finishing fight. So a little shimmy over there. But yeah, it was very interesting to see coming out from Stalwart at the end of the day. But the circle, they didn't move too much in the late game, right? And they just were making sure a lot of teams could not enter from the southern side, and then it was pretty much done and dusted.
Yeah, the game kind of came to them. Of course, they did have a lot of threats looming as the circles came their way, of course. Not last but not least, of course, Vampires was there to try and deal with them, but it wasn't enough. Stalwart showing why they can hold down locations. It got a little bit sketchy. I was kind of concerned that maybe Pika moved too early to that east, I guess, northern flank up against Alpha 7, because they're really coming back into the fight now here for this Vikendi. But it was enough as they shut them down.
Yeah, though we are seeing Alpha 7 actually get himself a few points, and we're seeing Vampire a little bit lower. So there's still that current fight for the first place between those two squads that is unfolding. But at the end of the day, a lot of the top teams that have already shown themselves consistently on top of this tournament are here once again. So there's some consistency.
Yeah, shown themselves. Very good.
Yeah, well, it was a very awkward fight and very funny fight, actually. I really enjoyed it between Vampire, STE, and then S2G actually potentially came to be the saviors of Vampire Esports. If we thought about it.
Then they mollied themselves.
Oh, we don't talk about that, Molly. I thought vampires were immune to fire. No, maybe not immune to fire.
No, they hate fire.
They hate fire.
They actually hate fire.
You know who also hates fire?
John Allen?
That's not where I was going with it.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure he hates fire as well.
Probably, yeah.
Take a look
I don't know where you
eyes.
were going. I was like, oh, I'll revert back to an old meme.
What was your answer you were going with?
I didn't know where I was going with that. That's the problem. So I'm glad someone broke the silence.
I've saved you. I've saved you. Thank you. It's fine.
Yeah. If that's
There
exactly.
it is.
There's the volley that we're talking about. Alpha
He's
7.
himself.
Keep in mind, Alpha 7 were 1 point behind Vampire Esports, and with them getting, was it the 11 eliminations, super important game for them to show up, considering that lead was slipping away. They already had a 30-point-plus lead. Like going into day 2, even into day 3, they were still around that marker. So now they're like, all right, well, you put the ball in our court, Vampire Esports. Well, here, have the ball back.
I think especially the moment they saw that Vampire was eliminated, they knew this is our time to get back into the league, create a little bit of a buffer for ourselves, because didn't have a great start of the day. The 2 first games are a little bit invisible, so at least they are present a little bit more. But Vampire, there's still a chance they're going to come back swinging. So I think it's going to come down to the last game to see who between those 2 teams will be taking the trophy at the end.
No, definitely. I can only agree.
Okay, well, what about our match rewards? Let's see how much money the teams were able to secure, at least the rewards in particular for some of these teams. Because again, that is what it's about, the money on the line. And 7C, all right. They're getting on the board here. Don't worry, we'll see some 7 in a little bit, but 7C getting some 4,000 bucks.
They got the first elimination and got the special elimination with good nades and stuff like that, but they did lose that engagement towards the end. Falcon just squeaking that one out, being able to survive it all with 2 alive, but of course it leaves you a little bit wounded towards the later stages. And Alpha 7 fighting back.
If they got the win there, that could have been like a 22k game right there for them. They would have been almost at the 100k margin, but you know what? Still getting himself 12k in this game alone. Alpha 7, they're still here. They don't want to be overtaken by the other team. So I mean, Alpha 7 are here to play, and as you already said many times, Jason, they came in prepared, and really the preparation they've made before the event is really paying off.
Yeah, it's such an awesome battle though between these 2 teams, like going head to head. I mean,
back and forth.
Obviously, it could have been like, all right, Alpha 7 just struggled. They get in their own heads, and their mentality is completely broken. But for them to bounce back and then pretty much just say to Vampire Esports, we're not going to go quietly here. We're going to still fight for the number 1 position. I think we're seeing probably one of the sickest rivalries we could potentially have developed now in the rest of 2022.
Oh, yeah. Alpha 7's clearly proficient at Vikendi as well. If you think about them getting the win that they got, I think it was day 1 on Vikendi, correct me?
Day 1. It was won by Vampire yesterday, actually.
Yeah, and then Vampire, and now Alpha 7 almost being able to eke out against Stalwart. But again, I've said 1 billion times on these desks over the last 2 weekends that Stalwart's an excellent team. So it's no kind of disrespect to them for losing out against Stalwart that were playing this compound and defending it for so long. So they were very warmed up early in this game about the angles that they needed to defend, especially when Alpha 7 had kind of gone for that sweep around, and then they once again...
The game plan, you can easily at least eliminate 2-3 players, which is what they did there versus Vampire.
And also, on reflection, to be like, was it the right thing to leave it open? If you do commit 1 to that, then you're a little bit too spread across that compound.
Start to get back,
So I'm kind of, I was questioning myself there, and I think that's probably the best play.
Okay. Well, normally we look at overalls, which obviously is extremely important when it comes to points. But what about when it comes to money earned so far within this event? Alpha 7, I imagine, should be first. Actually, okay. Well, that was from, I guess, this match. No, that's completely wrong. So we'll just ignore that. We're not going to look at this anymore because it doesn't matter. But we did talk about how Alpha 7 approached that 100K mark. Vampire Esports were around 80 to 90K last time we checked in with them. So we're having some teams approach or already surpassed the amount of money you can win for just being first place alone.
Yeah, exactly. There's what, like 414K total, plus the Chicken Diddy's got like an extra 118K, 180K, should I say. So like they might be able to actually get close to half of that money in particular coming their way, which is insane between two teams. So
I mean,
it
Vampire,
can happen.
They're close to $750,000 from 2 weeks alone.
I think that's one of the highest earnings in like one tournament alone in PUBG Mobile Esports. Like they're catching up. I think the top winning out of PUBG Mobile Esports as a whole is Nova, was like 5 million total. Like they're getting close to a mil here with this event alone.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Crazy indeed. Okay, well, so looking obviously into our next match of the day, we do have Karrakin coming up next. I'm curious if you guys have... Okay, no, we're actually going to the match rankings, reward rankings for this one. But look at this, only 1,000 difference between these two teams, our top two teams.
Jeez. I mean, we already saw, you were expected potentially Alpha 7 to break that 100K mark. I have a question for you, I suppose, then, Max. Did you expect maybe Vampire to do it? Because I didn't expect them to get to 100K, but it's very feasible now.
It is definitely like, how many matches do we have left now? Like 3 currently remaining. So, okay, even Avengers time, 3 are remaining. So, very doable for both teams to reach that one. Of course, you need to get some good games in these 3 last
Never mind
matches,
the standings money.
Exactly. Like, definitely, you're aiming for that one. And on top of it, you've got that battle for 60K for the first place. But that's clearly not the goal here. Here's to get as much money in these games. And so far, these two teams are dominating.
Well, S2G, I find it interesting. 60. Well, I was taking a second to think, letting the room breathe.
That's fine.
There's no rush. We got 5.5 minutes.
You. I was fully on board with you.
Yeah.
I think one thing that stands out for me as well.
Bigatron?
No. I think one thing that stands out for me as well is the fact that Star Wars, this is their first win here, technically, when it comes to the Afterparty Showdown. So I expected this to come in a bit earlier, if I'm totally honest, given their credentials. But it's nice to have it on the board now. 41K, not bad at all.
Important for 7C. I believe they're bottom of the table when it comes to our overalls in points, but they're 9th place when it comes to money. And that just shows, again, it doesn't really matter necessarily about where you place in the matches. There's all of those rewards you can get within that match, which amounts to, well, technically 33,000 every single match. So great job by them to build a little bit of extra money. Again, it's not quite Claris's day rate, but, we'll get there. But you know what they can do with that money? You know what they can do with that money, Cloris?
What can they do with that money,
They can
Joyce?
easily buy themselves a Sony Xperia 1.4, which is actually made in collaboration with professional esports players. You can actually see it here on our desk. We cut back to that. It's also the official smartphone partner here at Pubg Mobile Esports. So great to have them on board here, and great to have all the players as well showing what they can do on these devices. Here you go, right here. Oh. Remember, they have security tags on these, so
the phone is so good. The security is really tight. So I tried every single day. Yeah,
what you guys can't see is actually on the other side of the cameras, we do have 7 giant bodyguards staring us down.
It's 3 snipers.
And then we have a John Allen off to the side.
Yeah, and 7.
Yeah, but I mean, can't really. So it's like 7.
It won't stop us.
And then the bodyguards.
Yeah,
can't really
just reach over. Just let.
Okay, so gentlemen, let's take a look at overalls when it comes to points then, right? We saw Vampire Esports were 1 point ahead of Alpha 7. Where do these teams currently stand now, though, after that last result? And it's a 12-point difference. It is still Vampire Esports in striking range to take that lead back.
But the fight back is definitely real for Alpha 7, and it's great to see, considering that I think that after we'd seen the beginning of today, we were all very much on the Vampire hype train. It's definitely true. Alpha 7, though, good fight back, and they've not looked bad when it comes to the next 3 maps that are coming up as well. So, yeah, the fight will definitely continue.
Yeah, exactly. The main issue is going to be for one of these two teams. If one performs and the other doesn't, that's when a real buffer is going to start to be created in these last 3 matches. And the question is, do you still have time to make up for that little bit of a deficit if you fall back? You don't have a lot of time, only 3 matches, as you said there, James. So it's down to the wire for these two teams.
That's right, Max.
S2G on 61K. Bigatron, I want to say this, and I know almost every single event I ever work with Bigatron at the event, I generally have always been saying they've been underwhelming. But I think it's the only reason I really say that is because I think back to 2 years ago, or a year and a half, 2 years ago, when they were the most dominating team in PUBG Mobile Esports.
Yeah.
Maybe this is a rebuilding phase. I mean, there's obviously a lot of speculation around. They've had roster swaps constantly. I would love to see them, pop off yet again, potentially get into PMGC and restore the greatness that is in a BTR.
It's very difficult to stay at the top in any esport, never mind PUBG Mobile, where the competition is hyper competitive as a whole.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're at the top, one, you always have a target on your back, which Bigatron Red Aliens did have for a long time. And two, you need to keep innovating. And in a game that's slowly getting